Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Midcap. I'm Prashant Nair, with me my colleague Sumaira Abdi. The markets are almost at the day's high. We are at about 10,685. The high is 10,689. So 5 points away is where we are at. So things have continued to build on the early gap up that we saw. You quickly put up the Bank Nifty, the Midcap and the Small Cap indices. Bank Nifty is underperforming. It's only up about 0.4. The Midcap index, it could have done a lot more because when the Nifty was up 50, Midcap index was up about 1.25. It is still up about 1.25. It's not as if that part of the market has kept pace with the Nifty. But the gap is still there. The Midcaps and Small Caps are doing better than the Nifty index. But that was true in the morning as well, or a couple of hours back. But the Nifty, large caps, have really picked up pace. Advance decline, 1,600 stocks, so about 500 advances to decline. So, Mirafno.
Hi, Prashant. Good afternoon to you as well. Let's get started. These are our top stories. Market looks to end the week on a high. The frontline indices are near the day's high at the moment. Midcap index too shrugs off the weakness of the last 4 days to outperform. Dollar weakness supports the rupee.
ICICI Bank appoints retired IAS officer and former oil secretary GC Chaturvedi as non-executive part-time chairman with effect from the 1st of July.
It's an important day for the insurance sector. IRDA board meet to decide the fate of the much-talked-about LIC-IDBI bank deal is underway. Sources tell CNBC TV 18 that a green light is lighting.
The Titan stock recovers 5% from the day's low to trade higher as the overhang of the stake sale by influential investor Rakesh Jhunjhunwala is out of the way.
Tech Mahindra extends its fall to a third day today as brokerages fear that the company may post a weak Q1. Citi maintains a sell rating.
Okay, so those are the headlines. Ashwani Gujral is now with us. Ashwani, thank you very much. Earlier when we spoke hinting at the possibility of another round of short covering, I think the short covering has come 10,683. More to go, or you think short sellers will come back?
See, what you can see is that what went down is seeing short covering, but what didn't go down as much is not seeing buying. A 26,000 index, 100 point of short covering, I don't think counts for very much. So that way, mid caps can do the short covering for the next couple of days also. But it's clear that, large caps, strong stocks are not really participating. Otherwise, you should be much higher, particularly on financials. So that way, it's a pullback rally and one that will soon end. And possibly a retest of lows should happen. But mid caps, wherever you are getting opportunities to exit, etc., that may be taken. And every few days you have 2 or 3 days of upside, but I don't think you are really scaring the bears with this sort of 70-80 point move. At
what point do you think the market will start to face resistance? Index level, Nifty for example.
So it'll be tough to cross 10,700 because 10,700 to 10,850 was that range. So this is kind of a retest. So the moment you start to lose momentum, I think shorts will come back with a great amount of gusto. The important point is if you got long in the morning, you're making some money right now, take it off and don't overstay the welcome.
The weekend is coming up as well. Bank Nifty, since it is not really surging the way the rest of the market is, even for whatever it is worth, you'd say sellers will come back first in this space?
See again, what is leading Bank Nifty? It's PNB, BOB, Canara. These sort of stocks don't have a life beyond a point. So that way, even on Bank Nifty, probably sellers could even come in faster because that is a place where the pressure is, where the macros are poor, etc. So Bank Nifty underperformance shows you that in the next leg, it could do a lot more than the Nifty on the downside.
Okay, you got 3 stock calls, Bata, TCS, Jet Airways. Ashwani.
Yes, Bata is a buy with a stop of 830, target of 865. TCS is a buy with a stop of 1840, target of 1900. And Jet Airways is a buy with a stop of 340, target of 360.
Bata buy, TCS buy, Jet is a buy, and the trades are at the bottom of the screen with numbers. Ashwani, just look up Dilip Bilcon, if you will. The rebound is missing. No rebound. Actually, I think last I saw it was 5% down again. Where does, I mean, is there a technical level around which there is something significant? Not here, but where is it?
See, I think I spoke about this. Once there are auditor troubles, no level is sacrosanct. What is equity? It's an act of faith. If you don't have faith on the numbers, people will just, get out of the stock regardless of what value and what level. I don't think that it's very sensible to look at this sort of chart. It's best avoided.
I think Ashwani, thank you very much for that. I appreciate you joining in with that. With Dilip Bilkon, I think what had happened is that the CFO had stepped down, and so the auditor had signed off on the books of accounts, etc. And we spoke with the management a couple of days back, but this is interesting because there is no, it is halved, by the way, from 1300 levels. It's about 660, and on a day when the market is rebounding, I mean, it's limit down, not even an attempt at a recovery. Maybe we'll focus on this, and I think Anisha in Hunting for Value had put this stock up, and maybe we need to revisit this given the relentless fall that we are continuing to see on the Dilip Bilkon. But there's more, Sumaira.
Yeah, there's more actually. So a couple more stocks in focus. Dr. Reddy's, it's down, now down about 2.5%, and it's at its 200-day moving average. It's this Suboxone generic. I mean, there are a couple of issues there that continue to plague this stock. Ekta, we now understand that the U.S. court has extended, this stay. What more can you tell us?
Well, it's not really bad news. It's just uncertainty continues rather, because it could, the court case could actually be in favor of Dr. Reddy's eventually. So what has happened is that the court has actually extended a TRO, or temporary restraining order, with regards to Suboxone. Remember that Dr. Reddy's had launched it at risk. Then the innovator had moved against Dr. Reddy's and said you cannot sell the drug, and hence the court had put a temporary restraining order on Dr. Reddy's. So yesterday the court met and extended this TRO for 1 week. And eventually, after 2 weeks, they'll decide on what the patent outcome would be with regards to this litigation, as well as the way forward for Dr. Reddy. So there's uncertainty and potential loss of sales, and that's the reason why the stock is down.
Okay, thank you very much for that. We're going to take a very quick break here on that note as well. So 95 points in the Nifty, hold good, strong. We've got an interesting company joining us when we return.
Hi, welcome back. You're watching Midcap Radar, and we welcome you back with the news that there's been a sharp recovery in the rupee. So it opened this morning at 68.70, and as you can see now, almost 68.37 odd, and you can see that sharp move that has come through in the currency. We'll keep track of what's happening with the currency, but for now, there's lots more coming through. In fact, the midcap space is buzzing today. It's seen relentless fall over the last few days, and individual stocks as well. So say pick up a Westlife development. Today the stock is up about 5%, but through the month the stock has lost 10%. But this whole QSR theme, the quick service restaurant theme, remains quite alive. Amit Jatia, the vice chairman of Westlife Development, now joins in to talk about how he sees FY19 shaping up. Mr. Jatia, good afternoon. So you're well underway with this Q1. How have things been? Also in terms of sales in the restaurant as well as the delivery model, how is the mix now looking?
Sure. As I had said earlier, I mean, as early as 3 quarters away, we could start seeing the tailwinds from a consumer point of view starting to go in our favor. Consumer sentiments also kind of been looking up. So if you look at the last couple of quarters, last quarter was same-store sales growth of 25%, and the quarter before that was 20.5%, and even the 2 quarters before that were quite strong. I maintain that the consumer sentiments looking strong as yet, and the trajectory continues to look right. So we've been saying that, basically high single-digit to double-digit same-store sales growth looks like a reality for FY19. So we are quite positive about where we are heading right now. In terms of the delivery business, as we talked about in our analyst meet recently, the good news is that the platform of delivery we've built over the last 10 to 12 years, and delivery operational excellence is extremely important for getting the food right to the consumer. And having the platform in place, the delivery business in India has exploded. So consumers are consuming a lot of outside food at home, and therefore McDonald's has done really well in that particular sector. So we've grown extremely well, and I think that that trend continues on, especially recently with FIFA and the World Cup being played out as well. That's obviously added a little bit of an impetus to the growth as well. So we are quite positive about the way delivery is running.
Mr. Jatia, so for Q1, are you running to 20% plus same-store sales growth?
No, I can't respond to that. As you know, that's a forward-looking statement, and we are still in the midst of the quarter. So unfortunately, I cannot respond to that. All I can say is that for FY19, we had indicated that the consumer sentiment looks good, and we will maintain our double-digit same-store sales growth, a low double-digit same-store sales growth for sure.
This FIFA, the impact, I mean, its deliveries have doing very well. That's what you're indicating.
Yes, I mean, again, it continues from the last couple of years, in fact, and the momentum's rising. So this quarter continues to see a similar traction as we've seen previously. But the other impetus this quarter, of course, that we had Ramzan, but yet at the same time with FIFA coming in, it sort of worked out quite well for us.
So, Mr. Jatia, if you're saying high single or low double-digit same-store sales growth, would you say that the best, therefore, is behind you, or is it a one-quarter blip?
See, it's not that. I mean, firstly, for the last 11 quarters, we've consistently given positive same-store sales growth. And remember, same-store sales growth gets compounding effect as well. So particularly, if you look at the demonetization period, which I would say is the severe-most test a brand can go through when, a large part of the currency is out of circulation. I think we were one of the few brands that was positive 5.5% in that quarter. And the following quarter, when most brands were negative, we were still positive territory as well. So this quarter continues to see a similar traction as we've seen previously. But the other impetus this quarter, of course, that we had Ramzan, but yet at the same time with FIFA coming in, it sort of worked out quite well for us.
So, Mr. Jatia, if you're saying high single or low double-digit same-store sales growth, would you say that the best, therefore, is behind you, or is it a one-quarter blip?
See, it's not that. I mean, firstly, for the last 11 quarters, we've consistently given positive same-store sales growth. And remember, same-store sales growth gets compounding effect as well. So particularly, if you look at the demonetization period, which I would say is the severe-most test a brand can go through when, a large part of the currency is out of circulation. I think we were one of the few brands that was positive 5.5% in that quarter. And the following quarter, when most brands were negative, we were still positive territory as well. So the point is that when you deliver a 20% same-store sales growth, in the next year, in the same quarter, do you go on top of the 20? That tells you that you've retained the baseline, and it was not based on some promotion that was driven to just drive sales for that quarter. So I feel that if you look at last year, in the first quarter of last year, we did almost 9% same-store sales growth, which was on top of a pretty solid quarter before that. So I think as long as we maintain the trajectory, it shows that the brand foundation is really solid, and we are able to continue to build that. So I don't see it that way. I feel it is very positive, remaining in high, or mid-single digits. Yeah.
The quarter, see Q1 FY18, right, you did close to about 9%. The quarter before that, if you mean FY17, is what, 3.5%. If it's Q4 FY17, that's 1%. So, I mean, I'm not able to understand the math because last quarter you've done 26%. From there, if you have to scale down now to just high single digits, I mean, I'm not able to get your explanation for that.
No, because you are comparing two different quarters. You got to compare quarter 1 FY19 with quarter 1 FY18 and with quarter 1 FY17. So the point is that through these periods, if you do the compounding effect, right, basically you will see the impact. In any case, like I said, I'm not sort of making a forward-looking statement for the quarter. I'm talking of FY19. So if in FY18 we did 15% same-store sales growth for the whole year, you got to compare FY19 with that. And if you look at quarter 4 of FY18, you got to look at quarter 4 of FY19, or quarter 4 of FY17. You cannot compare two different quarters because that's just completely non-comparable. So to that extent, delivering sort of even double-digit comms on top of 8.5%, 9% last year, on top of whatever it might have been in the previous quarter, talks about compounding effect. And it talks about the fact that if you've built a customer base, you are able to retain and grow on top of that. Lastly, you got to recognize that our average volumes are the highest in the industry. So basically, when, for example, last quarter, we did an annualized rate of 5 crores per restaurant. And when you do a 20% comp or a 15% comp on top of that, the rupee value that you get from the consumer is absolutely fantastic. And it's not comparable to, say, another brand that might be doing average sales which are much lower than ours. So you got to look at all of that. Net, from my point of view, I'm quite positive about where the consumer sentiment is and where the brand foundation is. So we are quite excited about FY19, irrespective.
Mr. Jatia, will you start sort of offering the entire menu at McDonald's during breakfast hours as well? Is that something that you're considering?
So sure. So breakfast, we've done a complete sort of reinvention of the brand and the menu, and that's resonating extremely well with the consumers. Of course, we normally don't offer the whole menu at breakfast time. So if you look at it globally, we've developed a breakfast menu, and we get a lot of credit for the breakfast day part globally. And we are sort of the leader in that particular segment of the business. Similarly, in India, we've done really innovative stuff. Like if you think of a dosa masala brioche, and consumers have just absolutely loved it.
Right.
And while we really have this new menu only in about 60 stores as yet, but the impact that we are seeing from a consumer point of view has been very positive, and therefore we are continuing to roll that across the rest of the restaurants as well.
But would it make sense to offer at least some of the other products as well during along with the breakfast menu?
We do offer some products, but like I said, if you look at it globally, and we do really well in breakfast globally, billions of dollars of sales for breakfast day part. It works well by giving a breakfast menu, actually. So we're going to stick to that by and large.
Sure. According to you, 10 days back, 14th of June, when you had your analyst meet, you indicated, you gave out guidance in terms of the number of stores by 2022. According to that, it basically implies that you're saying you're going to add about 43 new stores per year compared to your run rate of about 25 right now. Would it include some acquisitions as well? There is a, and of course, you know what the next question is. The entire
no, it does not.
North and East franchises.
Of course I know, so let me preempt that. No, the answer to your question is that Vision 2022 is based pretty much on organic growth for Westlife. Essentially, our vision talks about 400 to 500 restaurants by 2022. And we feel that at the current run rate, as long, if the net openings remain at 25 to 30 a year, we will get definitely to over 400 in that period. For me, it's always about the quality of restaurants. And therefore, for example, if you look at our strategy for restaurant growth, we've been focused on 6 key cities. And if you look at it in Mumbai today, we have 85 restaurants. And our closest competitor would have maximum 20. In terms of the burger category particularly. So therefore, we feel that quality real estate is more important than just going after numbers. But we remain confident that we will deliver the 400 to 500 by 2022.
Okay. Just a brief one, last one. Are you talking to the North and East to take over the North and East franchise? Any discussions on?
Well, as you've heard before, my entire focus is really to grow our business in West and South. We have our hands full. We have always 500 million customers to serve and to double the base of restaurants, double the base of McCafe. So we are focused on that for now.
But McDonald's, the parent hasn't reached out to you. I mean, would they want you to do it?
Well, like I said, that's sort of not the topic of conversation for today. and we stick to the Vision 2022 conversation. That's much more fun.
Okay, all right. Thanks very much.
We are focused on our business, as I've said before.
Fair enough. But you're still not answering. Obviously you're focused. Thanks very much, Amit. Appreciate you joining in, and good speaking with you here as always. Westlife stocks up 4.5% in a market which is pretty buoyant, about 1% higher on the Nifty. We take a very quick break and come back with a quick bit on the markets. Okay, so 100 points now on the Nifty 10,688. We're at the day's high. I mean, and I think the same is true for the Sensex as well. So the sectors doing the best are real estate, metal, and energy stocks. 2% each on those three. You count the CPSE index as well, which is up about 3% or so. So about 3 indices with gains of more than 1%. I can count a lot of sectors with gains of over 1.25%. The broad recovery we are seeing. So Meera was talking about the rupee and how it has recovered actually quite a bit today. But the depreciation in the rupee has been sort of making, I guess, the gum sit up and take notice as well. Here are what Piyush Goyal had to say on the volatility in the rupee just a short while ago. Listen in.
अंतर्राष्ट्रीय परिस्थिति में कुछ अनाउंसमेंट्स ऑयल के संबंध में हुए हैं, कुछ ईरान के संबंध में हुए हैं. अमेरिका में रेट्स हार्डन हो रहे हैं, जिसकी वजह से स्वाभाविक है कि कुछ फॉरेन एक्सचेंज आज अमेरिका की तरफ अट्रैक्ट हो सकता है, क्योंकि उन्होंने इंटरेस्ट रेट्स बढ़ाए हैं, यील्ड्स बेटर हुए हैं अमेरिका में. पर मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया जो मैनेज करती है फॉरेन एक्सचेंज के पूरे रिजर्व्स को और रेट्स को, और केंद्र सरकार, हम चर्चा करके इसमें जो भी उचित कार्रवाई होगी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय परिस्थितियों को भी नजर में रखते हुए. knee-jerk reactions are not called for.
So the finance ministry as of now, and the minister himself looks actually not worried really about the way the rupee has moved. And today, of course, we've seen a big recovery because of dollar weakness. We'll wrap up on Midcap Radar. Up next, your stock. Stay tuned.